Welcome to today's session. In this brief video, you will learn more about the two most practical and most commonly used reading strategies, skimming and scanning. As a student and a professional, you will be assigned a lot of reading. However, often you will not have enough time to read every single word in a book or a paper. So, becoming a strategic reader will help you because you will have to make decisions on what is important and what is not important. Sometimes you will have to read carefully and thoroughly, but other times you will just need to find specific information as quickly as possible so you can move on. Here are some tips on how to become a strategic reader. 1. Know why you are reading. 2. Know what you will get from the learning. 3. Decide what you need to read thoroughly and where you can simply move on. 4. Do not passively run your eyes over the pages. Instead, read actively. And last but not the least, it is important to know that what distinguishes strategic readers from non-strategic ones is asking questions before, during, and after reading. Let's say that you were given a text to read at home for your assignment. The first thing that students usually do is skim a text. To skim means to basically run your eyes over a text very quickly. But in many cases, this will not be of much help, because you might end up going over the paragraphs and looking at the text without any focus. More or less, it looks something like this. This, however, does not guarantee that you'll get the gist. Instead, you should skim effectively. For successful skimming results, you should pay attention to the following. 1. Know what you want to get from the article. As we said earlier, ask yourself questions before reading. Think of 2 or 3 terms that describe what you want to know, and as you skim, keep an eye out for those 2 or 3 terms. Aimlessly skimming with no particular purpose will not get you far. Instead, it can make you feel bored and sleepy. 2. Read vertically as well as horizontally. In other words, you move your eyes down the page as much as you move them from side to side. 3. Try to detect the main idea in the introductory paragraphs. The introductory paragraphs usually express the main idea, the argument, or the goal of an article or chapter. Read these paragraphs closely. They tell you what the author's aim is, which can help you decide early on whether the article or a chapter is worth reading in detail. And as we said, if not, you will move on and save time. 4. Read the first sentence of each paragraph. The introductory sentence of each paragraph usually describes what follows in the paragraph. When you skim, read the first sentence in each paragraph and then decide whether the rest of the paragraph deserves a read. If it doesn't, move on. Here we have the same text as before. As you can see, there seems to be a lot of information in this text. So what can you do? First, you will look at the title, which in this case is Air Rage. Next, you will pay attention to the length and the number of paragraphs. In this case, there are 5, so this gives you an idea about how much time you might need to finish your reading. Once you do that, you can look for any visual aids such as diagrams, tables, charts, or pictures. After that, you start by reading the first sentence of each paragraph, or 5 sentences in total in this case. In most of the cases, the first sentence will give you the topic of each paragraph. However, if that is not the case, you can also look at the last sentence of each paragraph. So once you finish, you will have this information. Or to make it even more simplified, it should look more or less like this. This would be the information you should obtain from the first contact with the text or once you have done your skimming. From this we can learn that the topic is air rage, because that is the title. You can now pay attention to the keywords, or words that are closely related to the topic of the text. So here we have paragraph 1, which mentions the first case that occurred in 1947. We know that the number of cases has increased because today more people travel by plane. We also know that these events pose a real danger to flying, and that some of the main reasons are passenger behavior and personality, the physical environment, and changes in society. All of this we've learned only from the title, from the first sentence of each paragraph, and the chart. From these keywords, you can define the topic and the content of each paragraph. So, first one talks about the first case of air rage. Then the second one can be disproportionate growth of air traveling. The third mentions some of the dangers of air rage for flying. The fourth will be major causes of air rage on planes. And the last one will be passengers' behaviors as the root of the problem. If you become a visual reader and try to interact with the text instead of passively reading it, with time your mind will do this in just a matter of seconds. Once you're done skimming the text, if you decide that the text is worth further reading, you will need the next strategy, which is scanning. To scan means to look for specific information. For instance, when you look for a definition in a dictionary, you're scanning because you will look for a specific word, for only one entry. Once you find it, you will probably only read information on that specific word and close the dictionary. So, when scanning, you first need to think about what kind of answer you're looking for. Are you looking for someone's name? Then look for two words with capital letters, for instance, Christopher Columbus. Are you looking for a date? Then look for four numbers together, for instance, 1876. But then you might also look for more complex answers. For instance, how something was done, or some results of a research or a survey, or also for reasons why something happened. Let's look at this last question. Reasons why something happened. Let's say that we need to find information on the following question. What is the main reason why passengers become violent on planes? We'll use the same text as for our skimming exercise. You would have to look at the 5 paragraphs and read carefully, right? And this might take a while. But what if you have already skimmed the article? Then we wouldn't have to go over the whole text again, because we would immediately know where to look for. The last paragraph explains the roots of the problem, and the table gives us the numbers and percentages. So, this is where you would need to focus your attention. In this slide, you can see some definitions and examples of both skimming and scanning. And here you can see a summary of how to skim and how to scan. If you want to practice, there is a PDF worksheet available for you. Once you finish, you can check your answers in the answer key in the same document. Also, you can go to the exercises on Moodle. Thank you for watching.